This is something different I'm doing. I know you're all probably wondering, where the hell has Jamil been with his channel? I've been trying to figure out some new kind of ways to, interact with this channel because it's kind of hard with my work schedule. I'm actually on lunch right now. The way my day usually goes, I work from like 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Rush hour in Chicago's a bitch. I get home at about 6. By the time I decompress, it's about 7. I gotta talk to my girl. Try to squeeze some gaming in. I gotta eat dinner. Gotta get my stuff ready for the next day. I really only got so much time. I've stopped interacting in a lot of these Facebook gaming groups and comment sections and forums on different places, different websites, because it's too time consuming. I usually do it during my breaks and my lunch hour at work, or if my day is going slow at work. So, you might see me in some of these groups on Facebook, real briefly, but in the past couple of months, I kind of cut back a lot because, I'd rather spend my free time, especially when I get home. Any little free time I get, I want to try to game. I game more with the less amount of time I have than I did when I was self-employed and I had a lot of free time. I found myself not playing as much because I would get so wrapped up in what's going on, YouTube and Facebook and whatever else. So what's going on now is, the little bit that I do see and I might have something I want to talk about, I'll write it down on a notepad. I got a page full of a lot of different topics and things that I like to discuss concerning gaming. And I think what I'm going to start doing, because I know you'd rather see gameplay than somebody just talking, because I know a lot of people have channels where they're just sitting there talking to you on the camera, and you don't want to see that. You want to see some game footage. You want to, if you want to see somebody talk, get a friend, go over their house. So, and I'm going to explain why you see Best Buy on the screen in a second, because I'm actually live streaming, because I didn't want to edit videos and do all this and all of that. I'll explain why you see Best Buy in a minute, because I'm going to do a video on the fly. I'm streaming, and I know it's going to record to my channel, so this is a makeshift way for me to get some content on my channel. But what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start making voice memos on my phone, whenever I want to just take 10-15 minutes out of my day to kind of just rant about something I'm seeing. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make a more conscious effort to record gameplay footage, on my Xbox or PlayStation or whatever, and just kind of stockpile it so that when I want to throw up a video, I could just, download that video to my phone and whip it up real quick on my phone and publish it. Instead of just, sitting around and taking an hour or so out of my day when I'm at home to make a video. Because I know I'm pretty anal with my videos, and I'm going to be detail-oriented. I want certain stuff to be expressed and said instead of doing it on the fly, and it'll take me 2 or 3 hours, because it's happened like that before. That's why I got a lot of videos that I made that I haven't published. As far as when I'm making a video right now, I want to talk about predispositioned gamers. I know a lot of people like to talk about fanboys, but I think it's a little bit more complex than being a fanboy. I think that, people have preferences, and you're welcome to have those preferences. I think that when you have certain preferences, if something caters to you more than something else, then you become a little bit more predispositioned to pick and choose who's better at what. Usually when people talk about why they like something, they always talk about why they like something in comparison to something else versus just on its own merit, why do you like it? I think when you challenge somebody to express to you what they like about something, and they don't have the ability to express it without bringing something else up, then they don't really like what they're claiming they like. It's just about competition. It's about picking something, aligning themselves up with something that they think is a winner because they feel like those traits will associate with them. That's a whole nother discussion. What initially inspired this video actually took place almost a month ago. Someone made a video talking about how And when I say this, I know the person's gonna know what I'm talking about. And this is in no way a dig or a shot, but this is gonna show how there's a propensity for people to kind of shit on things, but then if something else is offering the same exact thing, they like it. A person was comparing the stores for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and talking about how trash the Xbox One store is in comparison to the PlayStation store, which I will say this, I do like the PlayStation 4 store a lot better than I like the Xbox One store. But I think they both have pros and cons that kind of make them even if I put them on paper and compare them. But I think just for my personal taste, I do like the PlayStation 4 store a little bit better. Just a little bit. But I like it better. I think that for every bit of simplicity that the Xbox store has, over simplistic, I'll say, the PlayStation 4 store is a little bit, over complex. It's not too complex for me to figure out, but I think it's just it's doing too much. But anyway, this person made this video, and they went to the Xbox store, and they were like, "Look at all this stuff!" Like they went to they clicked on a game, they looked at the game page, and you can see, the details for the game. You see screenshots, you see video clips, you see Twitch streams, you see related games. A bunch of categories under the game once you click on the game page. And the person said, "Look at all this shit. What's all this shit doing on here? Oh, it's too much. It's doing too much. It's way too much going on." And then, like, maybe a couple of minutes, and I laughed as soon as I saw it, because I knew right then in that moment that person fucked up. They went to the PlayStation 4 store a few minutes later, and when they clicked on the game page, they said, "Look at this. Nice and simple. Easy to follow." What's on a game page store in the PlayStation? On a game page in the PlayStation 4 store, you have game information, you have the additional DLC, which is also on the Xbox store. So you have the information about the game, you have the DLC, you have screenshots, video clips, related games. It's virtually identical. Maybe the format is different, but it's virtually identical. If you go and click on a game in the PlayStation store versus clicking on a game in the Xbox store, what they provide for you on those pages are virtually identical. There may be one or two differences. So for a person to go into an Xbox store and say, "Oh, it's a clusterfuck, it's doing too much. What's all this shit on here? You don't need all this shit. Why? Oh, it's offering DLC and blah, blah, blah. It's offering all these screenshots. What's all this? All video clips." And then they go on a game page in the PlayStation store, and it literally has the same thing. And they say, look at this greatness." People have preferences. This person prefers the PlayStation. So your predisposition to say that something is better than something else, even if it's virtually identical. So, I think in the past you would just flat out say, "Oh, you're a fanboy." I don't think the person's a fanboy, even though, they display a propensity to shit on Xbox versus PlayStation. But I think that the tragedy about being predispositioned to certain shit is that you rob yourself of actually liking something. Like, I don't want to go as far as to say he bought an Xbox to try to prove that he's not a fanboy, because I think that there's things on Xbox that he, does look forward to and that he does enjoy. But I think that his love for PlayStation doesn't allow for him to like anything else. It doesn't allow for him to be open-minded and enjoy what the Xbox has to offer. I think it's a lot easier for him to just say, "Oh, this sucks. That sucks. This is better on PlayStation," or whatever. And if it's true, it's true. But if it's not true, it's like you're doing a disservice to yourself. For me to have saw that, and I literally made a video right then when I saw that, and I realized that the execution of my video would have been more so about exposing this person, and I didn't want to create a conflict, because that's not what it's about. But it's like, why would you like something? Why would you like something so much on one side and hate it on the other side, and they're the same exact thing. Now, there are actual differences when it comes to one platform versus the other. We know about the variety of games on PlayStation 4 versus Xbox One. The funny thing is that everybody talks about how great indie games are, and the common criticism is to shit on the Xbox One community because they don't have an appreciation for indie games and things of that nature. Of course, people will fire back and say, "Oh well, indies, grew to popularity. It grew because the 360 had thousands and thousands of them, and the PlayStation gamers kind of neglected them." Whatever, we don't want to argue semantics when it comes to that, but it's just funny that people will talk about the lack of variety on Xbox One and talk about the lack of exclusives and all this and all that, but then they conveniently neglect to bring up indie games. Now, I know there are a lot more indie games on PlayStation 4 versus Xbox One, but there are a lot of indie games on Xbox One. And people say that console lacks variety as far as the games go, but then they never consider the independent games when they make these criticisms. Well, when they say, "Oh, there's been X amount of exclusives that come out on the PlayStation 4 already," but they don't bring up the indies, on that are solely on Xbox One or on Xbox One and PC that are not on PlayStation 4. But when they list all the games you can play on PlayStation that you can't play on Xbox, they do list all these games. And they include indies. So it goes back to, you have a preference for something, and you're more likely to boost something up at the expense of something else. Now, the reason why I'm on the Best Buy app is because I just want to point out some things. I'm going to PlayStation 4. I'm going to go to games. My phone's ringing. I'm about to call that person back. Okay. All in all, and I think these are sorted by popularity. Best-selling. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at best-selling for right now. Of course, it's gonna have the newer games up top, and you see Far Cry that just came out. Call of Duty's gonna stay up there. Street Fighter, Shadow of Mordor. I guess a price drop. I don't know what happened. I don't know. Plants vs. Zombies, NBA 2K16. You're going to see a lot of the same games for both consoles. You don't see, aside from Street Fighter, you're not going to see a lot of exclusives. You're going to see the same experiences. People say, well, these gamers over here tend to play these kind of games more than those gamers over there. But you're going to basically see, and I'm just using Best Buy as an example, you're going to see them in the same order. Let's go over to Xbox games. It's pretty much going to be in the same order. You see Far Cry, Sunset Overdrive is on sale, so that's boosted up there. It's the second highest selling, currently. Call of Duty, you're seeing the same games in the same order, basically, just give or take a few slots. One might sell a little bit more on this one versus that one, but it's the same games on different consoles that are popular with gamers. We're alike. We're more alike than people want to give credit for. You see the same games up here, so why are we arguing with each other all day about all this stuff? It doesn't make any sense. You're seeing the same games, Okay. Now let's look at upcoming games. Let's see, games that aren't out yet. Remember, I'm doing this on the fly. Coming soon. Okay, that's what I do. I do coming soon. So, oh yeah, you get a game like this that's probably not on Xbox One. I'm not sure. I'll check. Somebody will point this out and talk about, oh yeah, we got games coming over here, and how many people are going to buy this game? And it's not to discredit or discount that game, but it's to say, it's not like the vast majority of the community is so different on one console versus the other. You'll get about 10,000, 20,000 that's going to play this game, maybe, if that, or maybe a little bit more. Maybe it'll hit 100,000, who knows? I think these games cater to a very particular audience. That's fine. You're going to see games like this pop up more on PlayStation 4 than you will on Xbox. That's, and if that's why you like PlayStation 4, that's cool. If you feel like PlayStation's better because of that, that's cool. But this is one tiny thing that's different. So to make it an extreme opinion and say, oh, Xbox One sucks, and this is really one of the few differences. I mean, you see the network is shit on both of them. Both of them have network issues. The controller is different. Okay, cool. Maybe if you can't fathom, if you have a difficulty adjusting to a controller, that's a big deal. So if you really, really, really hate the controller on one console versus the other, okay, fine. You can't say everything's shit on it because of that. You just, I don't like the controller. I didn't like I love the DualShock 4. I couldn't get with the previous controllers for some reason. For some reason, the DualShock 4 works for me. Whereas, the 3, the 2, the original DualShock, the PlayStation controller, it just did not cut it for me. I hated it. My hands are too big. But looking at these games, I mean, oh yeah, Xbox One has no games, and nothing's coming for it. I don't understand why we have the arguments that we have. Oh, I got the hiccups. I'm gonna end this video soon. I know I've been rambling for a minute, but it's just, I don't get it. I mean, you don't see those couple of games for Xbox One, but then aside from that, I mean, it's like I don't see Quantum Break on here. Where's Quantum Break? I put coming soon. Okay, is it under upcoming? Pre-order. Let me do pre-order now. It's different. I'm gonna have to do that for what's the name too. So Quantum Break, it's the same games on both damn consoles minus 1 or 2. Y'all gotta chill. Y'all gotta chill with this fanboy shit. But I'm wrapping this up. I think from now on, between doing voice videos, throwing some gameplay on it on my phone when I get the chance to, and I think I'll also stream some mobile games. I'm gonna start just playing mobile games, on my downtime, and I can live stream it on my phone. And it's just a good way to just keep some content on here, and I'll be able to interact a little bit more. Nobody's watching the stream. That's fine. Because this, like I said, is gonna be recorded. I just want to do a little commentary, and that's about it for now. Hopefully I can do something with this channel. Peace out, though.